But as it currently stands, objectively speaking, other than Floyd, I don't see anyone of equal stature that can be a successor to President Zuma in the leadership of the MK party. The EFF has no one of Floyd's stature who they could bring in to be the deputy president. And therefore, they're a weaker party now that Israel has nuclear weapons. The question that should be asked by the public is if America has the means to prevent Iran from having a nuclear weapon, why can they not prevent Israel from holding on to their nuclear weapons, which is the only reason and the motivation between Iran's alleged desire to have nuclear weapons? So I am not surprised that the 702 blacks, my other fellow 702 blacks, will come out there in support of Helen Zille. I listened to the Calvin Momo album, obviously because there was the symphonic that was coming up, and you want to be up to date with what guys are dropping at the time. And it seems like he's the last man standing when it comes to Amapiano. He's the last guy that can get a number one.
You can't say so. What
No.
is Gaza? Gaza has not dropped. There's a new album that's coming. You can't say Calvin Momo is the only one.
No, I'm saying he's the last man standing.
No, what about Gaza?
This is where I'm getting to that.
Hey, when you talk of identity play, I'm actually cousin yami eFoslo. Manje mina when I saw yabona ngoba nasoya loma bese wathi asithandazo. Ayisani senginesikam. But let us pray bese ngizwe.
Let us know if you do love Mosaics Kitchen food and the menu.
There you are.
If you love the menu, spread word.
And
Let
there
everybody know out there.
Shall we at the same time? Amen. And esikhule sonke sithandaza emagadini. Angazi ayile ngisitophe ku. Besithandaza njalo. Mara mina still pray. Once in a while mara masenkinga. Ngithi uyazi.
Sure. Cut. Zille's Kitchen, Uber Eats, Gaza Eats, Mr. D.
I just can't buy SFB.
Let us know if you do love the Mosaics Kitchen food and the menu. If you love the menu, spread word. Let everybody know out there. Hustler's Corner, we hustle hard. Mosaics Kitchen, order the food. Go get the menu on Uber Eats, Mr. D, and Spaza Eats. Let us know what you think of the food over there. And you can also go check out www.ekasinobleproperties.com. For those that are interested in the property investment conversation, we've got group investment opportunities over there where you pay a once-off 147,000 rands fee. We group you with other property investors. You form a trust together, and then you can just build your own property portfolio. Those are the opportunities that are there. Been doing some work for the past 3 years with Ekasinobu Property Development, and we've eventually started building. Not an easy process, takes quite some time, but it's been quite a lot that one has learned over the past 3 years working with the different municipalities, the government, and our different investors. And we'd like to thank you, everyone that has come on board working with us in the property development space over there. So do go to ekasinobleproperties.com. All right, for those that are interested in advertising on NOTA Mondays, get in touch with NOTA. Go DM him on his Instagram. I think maybe they can find you at just Instagram.
Yeah, no, Instagram is
Because
the
other
best.
accounts are confusing. We're not sure if it's really you.
Sorry, yeah. No,
Maybe Twitter as well.
no, Instagram, I didn't have to pay for the verification.
Okay.
Mark Zuckerberg thought I know. It is some guy blue tick.
So La Vida Nota on Instagram.
On Instagram.
DM him directly.
Yeah.
Have a conversation with him directly. Let's have a conversation. Let's plug your business. Let's talk about your business. And then let's talk about how much you can afford to advertise on Nota Mondays.
Yeah, take me out of the unemployment numbers. Because apparently now, if you're a hustler, earning any money, you're now employed.
You're employed or unemployed?
Yeah, you are employed.
No, when you're making money.
No, according to the CEO of Capitec.
No, I haven't heard. What happened? What did
You
he
haven't
say?
heard? He said that our true unemployment rate is probably closer to 10%.
Oh.
Because
so
there's-
they haven't been counting entrepreneurs.
I mean, entrepreneur doesn't make you an employee. It doesn't make you employed.
Are you saying our true unemployment rate?
No, I'm saying according to Capitec's
According
CEO.
to-
Yeah. As long as you're getting money, maybe you're getting money from your grandmother who's getting whatever. And then she sends you out of her 2,000, she sends you tawanyana. At least that's a tawanyana. So even though you're unemployed, you know what I mean? You've got a tawanyana. So therefore, according to Capitec, you shouldn't be listed as unemployed. Obviously, I don't agree with that.
I don't agree with that. Yeah.
Stats SA came out to refute that as well, basically saying that, the CEO of Capitec does not study the stats the same way Stats SA does. They've got some of the best statisticians, mathematicians, and everything else who've been tracking this, who've also tracked people that earn an income that you could say maybe are hustlepreneurs, right? If they haven't formalized their entrepreneurship. And they are factored in to the numbers that Stats SA is giving us. And Mina, just from a basic survey, when I look at my cousins and I say, okay, out of all of us that are, children of our aunts and uncles, many of them who were employed, we didn't have many unemployed aunts and uncles from that previous generations. My cousins and I are unemployed in the majority, in the main. Like the main thing is to not have a job amongst my cousins. I mean, if you're my cousin, you don't have a job, or you're unemployed, or you're an entrepreneur. The ones that work and are earning money are entrepreneurs. They've got registered businesses. And just from my own family survey, I think that the Capitec CEO has been smoking some socks in that regard. But also just having people who've got power, people who are in positions like CEOs, who can say something and get it covered in the news and erase our suffering, erase damn, that's the 4 p.m. bus. I used to catch that bus. So if they can erase everything, just like that, just by making public statements, and because they are regarded as the captains of industry, everything that they say is true. And also because a lot of them are white, anything that the white man says is true. So it was really disappointing to see that discourse playing out and us being confused, and also our suffering being minimized like that, as I used to be a young person. I'm 35 now, so I'm no longer part of the formal youth. But many people in my age group, let's say 25 to 35, are unemployed, are not working. Majority of us are unemployed and not working. And many like myself chose to be unemployable and say, listen, we're not going to polish up our resumes or CVs. If someone wants to headhunt us to be whatever, director or whatever, we are open to that. But other than that, we can work for ourselves and we can do the work ourselves. So yeah, that was the interesting development in the run-up to last week's Youth Day commemoration.
It's good to finally have a bit of a chat. I think we had a 2-month run where you were just having different guests. We have not spoken like this in quite some time. I think we had the Colonel from the US.
Yeah.
We had Peter Kriel.
Mm-hmm.
We had Ronaldo Ghost, who finally came through. That was a dope episode. Shout out to him flying all the way from Kabeja. We also had Zuleka Patel.
Yes.
I had her on the radio afterwards.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, she gave us a great interview.
Oh, lovely.
What else did we have? We had like 6 or 7, 8 straight interviews without you saying.
Bra Ike.
Oh, we had Bra Ike. Twice.
Yeah, no, thank you to everyone
So we
that
miss
watched
you,
all
the
this.
people missed you. So it's time to hear from you. A lot has been happening. In South Africa, 24 hours is quite a lot, especially in politics.
Everything.
A lot has happened this past week with the MK party. So I'm interested to hear. There's Iran, Israel. There's so many things to talk about this week. Where do you want to start?
Yeah, let's start with the guests that we had over the past couple of months. I actually say thank you for the opportunity to interview all those people.
You've done well, by the way. Those were brilliant interviews.
Yeah, well,
the one thing I think a lot of people are concerned about is giving others a chance to speak. I know that you've been putting in effort. You've been getting better every time. Even when I started co-hosting with Penuel, that's one thing that I taught him when we started. I was like, try to train yourself to rather speak less and give your guests more of a chance to speak. And you've been doing that really well. But obviously, it does take time. But you've done brilliantly well, bro. Like your interviews over the past 2 months have been incredible. If I've had to compare with a whole lot of other interviews on other podcasts, I think you've had the most dopest interviews over the past 2 months.
Okay, I'd give myself a 4 out of 10.
You've done really well.
Yeah.
You can always get better.
I've got a lot to improve upon, but no, thank you for the opportunity to learn a new skill. It's something that was never in my repertoire, speaking to people. I like having conversations as well. So a lot of people are not used to the conversational style of interviewing. A lot of our viewers, they've been trained by all the other interviews they've watched and other professionals. And, as much as I felt like some of the criticism was a little bit harsh and unfair, I know where it comes from. And the harsher it is, the more I know that person cares for me improving.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? The more I know that, that person has very high expectations of me. You know what I mean? And they're not disappointed because I'm a disappointment. They're disappointment because their disappointment is caused by my performance not matching their expectations of me.
Yeah. But Penuel started the same. I mean, look at him today.
Yeah.
We always get better. Penuel is flying today. He's an international podcaster.
Yeah.
But he started the same. A lot of people used to complain. With Buddha, tell Penuel to give guests a chance to speak. And he struggled with it in the beginning. But I mean, it took him some time. Look at him today, So I really do think that what you're onto with this NOTA Mondays is something incredible. I mean, I look at it not today. I don't look at it even next year. I look at it 10 years from today. Because I've always felt like NOTA just needs its own platform. And for me, I know we are amplifying it with this platform.
No.
But I see it as your baby. We are building your baby. We are building your thing.
No, thank you.
Which is going to grow into something amazing in the future. It's just humble beginnings. That's why I'm saying those who want to move with you and plug their businesses and spend those couple of thousands of rands to plug their businesses on the show with you. They must grow with you. Because at some point, it's going to get there where it's no longer maybe affordable for them. Now big business starts coming. But now while we're still building it, while it's still here, they must come on board and grow with you. Yeah.
Speaking of Capitec again.
And by the way, guys, when you do come on board for NOTA on Mondays, I don't want money.
Oh, okay.
I don't want nothing. So you come on board, plug on the show. It goes to NOTA and it goes to production. I'm good. I just want NOTA to build this thing because I see him as an international podcaster as well. He's an international voice. He's one of those voices that need to be heard globally. He's quite an amazing mind. And I'm really, really honored to always just learn from you every week,
No, thank you. And thank you for the investment you've made over time. To catch up to you as well is impossible. It's an impossible task. When you've been a broadcaster for over 20 years. You know what I mean?
Or radio and TV.
Everywhere. You just, I said broadcaster because if I said you've been, you know what I mean, I'd be limiting you. But you've been a broadcaster for many, many years.
Thank you, bro.
You've worn many hats as well. And you've got lots of scalps. And also, you've warmed a lot of people to me that maybe misjudged me at first. But thanks to, your relationship with them, will be like, okay, Indwana Ivan Osbuda, let's give him a chance. You know what I mean?
Sure.
So that has helped me a lot. It's been a tough couple of years, just readjusting to changes in life, changes in work, business, and everything else. And this has given me something to do. A positive outlet, something to consolidate my efforts into. You know what I mean? So whether I be reading up about stuff, informing myself about stuff, some things that I'm not interested in, but I know that would bring value to this platform. I do that knowing that, at least here I can make my mistakes and learn. You know what I mean? As we're going, we're building this flying machine as it's in the air. So
And by the way, NOTA, while we're still there, please do the paperwork behind the scenes. Go register the company, go trademark this thing, NOTA Mondays, it's all yours. I don't want nothing on it with you.
I
It's
know.
yours, bro.
I know.
Like, go
well, that's
register it,
there
go
we go.
trademark
We've
it,
got
it's
we've got
your
the
baby.
trademark. We've put it in public, but now we can register it so that no one can steal it. And yeah, okay, no, I'm gonna get all of that stuff
We're
done.
onto something here.
Yeah, yeah, and I'm gonna speak
I
to
hope
my
you see it.
yeah, I see it. I'm gonna speak to my old lady.
Sometimes I'm like, yes, they love the content,
Yeah.
but I'm like, they're not even aware where this thing is going. Because
Yeah.
the entire podcasting industry
Yeah.
is still in baby stages in South Africa right now.
mm.
If Mr. Beast has got over 200 million subscribers, bro.
Does he? Wow.
And our biggest is McG with almost 2 million. There's still space for all of us to go to 100 million. So that's why I'm like, imagine 10 years from today.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, I haven't even thought about the potential a decade from now, but I do know that we've made some really great progress. I've been rewatching my episodes. I watch your episodes just to learn your style, not to copy it, but to see where my gaps are. Because I can't do a Sbu impersonation. But what I can do is understand how it's taken all these years of broadcasting experience to produce the broadcaster that you are today. And it's very admirable that, because of the halo effect, people have that high of an expectation of me. You know what I mean? I don't take insults personally or criticisms personally or whatever. I don't take them personally. And I like to engage. I read each and every single comment. Every single comment. There is not one comment which I am too well known, too liked by people, whatever it is, too stupid, too intelligent to take in and understand. You know what I mean? It doesn't matter whether it's coming from a good or a bad place. If it's coming from a bad place, I'm able to discern. If it's coming from a good place, I'm able to, take it on board as well, knowing that it's building me. But any comments from people, any opinions from people about the work that I'm putting in here, I appreciate, and I encourage people, keep me honest, keep us honest, keep me on my toes, every single opportunity to impress those people who were maybe disappointed in the past is something I take with the greatest humility. So yeah, I don't know where else you'd like to start or what you'd like to kick us off with. You want to go into MK?
I think that's where we must start. Politics.
Yeah.
SA politics before we go anywhere else. Let's start there.
Yeah, no. This MK Floyd, yeah. Let's just talk about maybe the Youth Day, what happened on Youth Day. Prior to...
Last week,
yeah.
Monday, yeah.
Yeah, so prior to Youth Day, obviously Floyd was removed as the SG of MK. And everyone was looking to the Youth Day or the launch of the MK Youth League to see what is going to happen to Floyd, because there was an expectation that he was going to make it onto the parliamentary party list, because that was what was announced when he was removed from the SG position. That hasn't materialized. And then there was an expectation that maybe he might be expelled. Ubaba went on stage at that rally, and he made some utterances which people thought he was speaking to Floyd, or...
I actually thought he was speaking to him too.
Well, he said...
And I was very disappointed.
He said 6 SGs or 7 SGs.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then he said, no more abutando kangakanani, mkhulu kangakanani. But I was like, but why would Baba speak like that though?
Especially when...
Because it's a divisive statement.
Yeah, because uthandwa kakhulu yena and umkhulu kakhulu, and that's why people support him.
But he's a political elder and a leader who understands that such statements will definitely divide the party. Even if even if they were not directed at Floyd, but to speak like that.
Yeah.
Although there's a reason why he would speak like that, but I was really disappointed.
Yeah, no, I was also disappointed in that because June 16 is a big day on the calendar for all political parties. You may see that many political parties have big rallies.
Maybe let's give a bit of context. Let me play one of the clips.
Okay.
Obviously not the entire speech.
Yeah.
But maybe like 1 minute of what he said. So some of you guys who might have not heard, who are overseas or something. Sorry, I'm getting a call. May I please call you back, bro? I'm just recording a podcast. I'll call you back like in an hour. Sharp, sharp. Sorry about that, guys. I apologize. Let me do this. No.
If you look seriously, you'll realize. If you look seriously, you'll realize that if we have one of us, ophume eceleni, asimncengi. Let me just tell you, abantu asebeke baba o-Secretary General kule sebe u-7 manje. Koba sidlali. Noma ngabe uzazi ukuthi umkhulu, uyathandwa, uyikho konke, we don't care. We talk about our party. Laba bala kule party, abathi uma bebona umuntu engasebenzi sikhuluma lesazi ukuthi kwenze njani noma eneyinkinga noma onile. Ebese sithi awusuke. Akekho umuntu odala ukuthi uyohlala esikhundleni kuyozangena ezulwini. Ayikho lonto. Akuyona indaba yakho if you don't know. Ozubuza ukuthi kwenze njani. Kunabantu abaze bathi bafuna ukulokhuza ukuprotesta ngoba sithatha i-decision ethile. Kusho ukuthi ayikakheki le party le. Ayikakheki ngale ndlela esifuna.
You can't tell me he was not speaking about Floyd, bro.
Well, when you include the part where he spoke about people protesting for a particular member, there's only 2 members who've got support bases that have been rallied in their support. That's Mam Mary Paddy and yes, and Floyd. Mam Mary Paddy even took the party to court to fight for her position as the convener of Mpumalanga. I think a compromise was made at some point in time. So clearly there's an inconsistency in that Mam Mary Paddy seems to be big enough, to be popular enough, so that she can do whatever she likes, even undermine people, even insult a sitting SG, because when she made that statement saying that Floyd will be removed soon, he was still the sitting SG. Nothing has happened to her. She hasn't been sanctioned. She hasn't been cautioned. When you take the statements that he made about all the previous secretary generals and then add the fact that he spoke about this protesting party, he is referring to him as well. I don't know if he's referring to him as the only problematic SG, but he did say that many of the SGs that were removed or either resigned because they had findings against them and they chose to have them step aside without bringing the dirty laundry into the public. The dirty laundry on Floyd has, many manifestations, whether it be letters of his suspension, his expulsion, intelligence reports that ended up being leaked post his disciplinary hearing, where the announcement was made that he will be redeployed to parliament because of the unhappiness of the Muslim Judicial Council, who are a funder of the MK party and took objection to Floyd's visit to Malawi, to Shepherd Bushiri's church, where there were flags of Israel amongst many other countries as well. But the presence of the Israeli flag seemed to be what was used to raise objections of the Muslim Judicial Council to having Floyd as SG. He, in his own statement, said that there was a threat made that they will discontinue funding as long as Floyd is SG. For me, that's it's like really concerning that the party that has prided itself on not listening to civil society or whatever it is, and acting on behalf of the best interests of the people, would take such a drastic step because of what is suspected to be an involvement by Israel in Bushiri's church. I find that very concerning because Floyd himself has been very pro-Palestinian. He comes from the pro-Palestinian EFF party, and he does not support Israel. He's not a Zionist. So to accuse him of now being a Zionist because he visited Bushiri is also really concerning. Also, the demonization of Bushiri's church is also very concerning because there are very many churches that have got concerning practices. You know what I mean? There are many members and high-ranking members of the Shemba Church of Nazareth that, in my own personal value system, do things that go against, what is expected of decent, God-fearing people. The thing of Uktwala was stopped in South Africa. I think at some point, whether it be in the 80s or 90s, this thing of taking young girls and then abducting them and marrying them by force, that was stopped. Now what we have is a situation where young girls are told that the only thing that they need to be concerned about is provision. And therefore, even if an 80-year-old man wants to marry a young 14-year-old virgin or something, it's something that needs to be acceptable because the church approves of it. And for me, that's morally wrong, right? Even if the church approves of it. And there's no distancing of the MK party from the Shemba Church, who endorse such practices being done by their members. I'm not speaking on the leadership of the Shemba Church, but I'm just saying their members have been seen to be partaking in this newer form of uktwala, of marrying young girls. So there's an inconsistency in how they deal with so many things, so many red flags. The conflict between Zille and Floyd as well has been dealt with inconsistently as well. The Constitution clearly states that, there's no infighting or insulting of members of even opposition parties, that it should be allowed. Those are expellable offenses according to the MK Party Constitution as rewritten by Floyd. And yet, Zille signed that constitution, accepted that constitution, and continues to defy it, which for me, I think that my biggest concern is that Zille has seemed to be someone who is very divisive and thinks to hell with my father's struggle, his sacrifices, and everything that he has worked for. To hell with his reputation. What matters is my future and my security. And having experienced personally my father going through certain challenges and everything else because of falling out of political favor with those in power at the time, I understand what she has gone through over the past couple of years. When your father was the most powerful man in the country, the president and everything was at your fingertips. Then your father became accused number one in state capture, ended up being betrayed by his own comrades. It was the ANC that sent Ubab Zuma to prison. You are mistrusting of everyone. So I understand where she comes from. And I understand the fear that she has that once her father is not around, there's no one to look out for her and her family or her family members. So the way in which she's protective over this MK project is much more personal than it is political for her. The most important thing for her is securing her future and her father's legacy. The most important thing that people support the MK for is that we see it as a movement that is going to take us back to the liberation ideals of the great parties like the PAC, AZAP, or the ANC of the past, or the expectations that we had of the ANC in the past. We don't see that materializing under the current leadership. We don't see that materializing with the current infighting. And we don't see that materializing when all the other black parties are seen as adversarial to the MK party. The EFF is seen as an adversary to the MK party in the same way that the ANC is seen as an adversary to the MK party. And in fact, both the ANC and the EFF have named the MK party as their enemy number one. The one thing that I maybe gave grace for is that removing Floyd would disarm those in the EFF that felt that his being propelled to a leadership position in the MK was done to undermine the EFF party. And I felt the same way as well. I did not like the fact that he was, propelled so high up, especially over and above so many Zuma loyalists who are part of the party, your Andile Mngxitama and others, you know what I mean? Who is still in parliament today and, also has a history with the EFF, also has a history with Floyd. And I felt maybe finding someone neutral to be seconded to that SG position would help bring this unity that they were trying to foster, or that they stated that they wanted to foster. And it wasn't to be. Currently, the MK still hasn't, appointed, or as we speak, as we are recording right now on Juneteenth, and we don't know what will happen by the time this goes to air on Monday. But as it currently stands, objectively speaking, other than Floyd, I don't see anyone of equal stature that can be a successor to President Zuma in the leadership of the MK party. The EFF has no one of Floyd's stature who they could bring in to be the deputy president. And therefore, they're a weaker party now that their leadership doesn't have the strength of both their president and someone of the stature of Floyd. The MK party is a weaker party without Floyd in a leadership position right now. Not even the ANC has anyone of Floyd's stature. Fikile Mbalula is not of Floyd's stature. He might have more political experience. He is the current SG of the ANC, which Floyd comes from. But in terms of people's respect for him as a political player, he's nowhere near as highly regarded as Floyd. So losing Floyd would be fatal for the MK. And that is why it would be ill-advised for them to act on any advice to suspend him or to expel him from the party altogether. With him now going into this new national dialogue that he wants to create, similar to the July 26th movement, it started with a conversation. Remember when Gaten, Mackenzie, Kenny Kunene, all of them were all together in that place. They were all together. The EFF emerged, the PA emerged, from that meeting. If you look at their electoral performance, both of them, as a collective, both the EFF, and they've both grown, even though the EFF lost 300,000 votes in the previous election, the PA gained 300,000 votes. So if you look at the people that were part of the EFF's formation and their political trajectory, all of them have improved. All of them have gone up. Now with the MK basically having just I guess if you could say the PA's whatever 2% of the votes that they got, the EFF's 10%, and you add that to the MK's 14%, they're in similar sizes, outside the ANC. The DA cannot compete with the ANC right now because they're now part of the same government. They're part of the GNU. So it only benefits the ANC, the DA, and the EFF if the MK party disintegrates. If the MK party disintegrates, Jacob Zuma's legacy is state capture. That is it. All those lectures that Floyd gave in defense of Bab Zuma will be in vain. And he would have shot himself in the foot. So as far as Floyd's political future is concerned, he's the most secure politician in South Africa. And he's got a bright future. He's got bright future prospects. You cannot compare.
Bright future where? If he leaves the MK?
He's got a bright future in that the MK cannot leave him. Otherwise, it dies.
And then what happens to him?
Whatever happens to him, he will have a leadership position.
I mean, I know he would do well in business, but in politics, as brilliant as he is, which political formation would he?
I mean, he said that if the ground says that he should start another political formation, he will start it, not to compete against the MK, but to complement it.
I spoke to Samkelo Maseko on the radio.
Samkele.
And
Samkele,
Samkelo
yeah.
is one of the
No, Samkele.
He's one of the few people that speak to Floyd directly, apart from Utsidi from EWN News.
Oh, yes.
And Samkele did say there is there's a, how do I put this? And I also even saw it on his socials, Floyd. MK colors, and there's a name, Maibuwe Africa of some sort. Does that fall under the MK banner, or is that a new sort of a political movement or formation that is subtly introducing, or is that a statement? I don't know what it is, but Samkele did say, when he spoke in Tembisa, in one of the days, Samkele
It was in Alexandra.
Sorry, in Alex.
Yeah, but he also have that Maibuye Africa in Tembisa when he was SG and was doing that political lecture in Tembisa.
Samkele says, Guti, that might just be Floyd's brand new political formation. This is Samkele says, so he does not say it is.
Samkele. Sorry, I know everyone makes the mistake. Samkelo is a very popular name. The SABC.
Maseko, SABC political reporter.
Yeah, it's Samkele.
That's the guy I'm talking
about.
Yeah,
Samkele with an E at the end. Yeah. For those, sorry, he corrected me so many times the last time I met him.
Now I'm not sure.
So I don't want him to watch this and say, and the guy goes
By the way, we must bring him to the show.
Yeah, no,
when I spoke to him, he said, like I'm looking forward to the invitation. I'm waiting for it.
Yeah, please, please. So he can keep also giving us response to media access in places where we're not invited. Just in case you might have seen me somewhere and you're like, how did NOTA get this?
And then he also spoke about Floyd having to go dismiss the rumors that he might have stolen 30 million or mismanaged 30 million in the MK.
Yeah.
He said that in the morning. This is before Floyd's 12 o'clock press conference.
Yeah. The MK has its own treasurers. It's got a treasurer general. Floyd is not responsible for the finances. So again, like Floyd said, there was many so-called intelligence reports that were, circulated with many allegations about financial impropriety on his part and the part of many other people. His statement is that the MK party needs to submit its financials to the IEC. There is some questions about the mismanagement of the finances and how that could lead to the ineligibility of the MKP contesting the 2026 elections if the IEC finds them, or finds some wrongdoing. So already the IEC has taken the MK party to court on many occasions. So we know that they've been opposed to the MK party being a political player. I don't think the IEC needs to be given any more motivation to have MK party removed from the ballot. So the veracity of the allegations made against Floyd pale in comparison to the veracity of the allegations that Floyd has made, which have got an independent arbiter in the IEC. So if Floyd is saying that 7 million is moving out of the account every single month, and this is part of the submissions that go to the IEC, those will be looked at and scrutinized. If the MK party finds itself not on the ballot in the 2026 local elections, it would be the result of not listening to Floyd. And so in that regard, again, he's secure. I think he knew he was stepping into the lion's den. The best thing about Floyd entering the MK party in the way he did is that he knew there was lots of opposition from, number one, not only the EFF supporters, but also from the December 26 group, or the December 26 faction within the MK, those who were there at the launch on 16 December 2023. So he did not go in there trusting anyone. He did not go in there as a fool. You know, he's also a political player who's led an organization for over a decade. He knows how these things work. He knows how people can be undermined. He knows how people's leadership can be undermined. And he was practically second in command of the MK. He's been second in command of the EFF for the longest time. He knows what it takes to be second in command as well. So those people that he encountered within the MK are political novices compared to him. Indwana. You know, even when Julia said, "Try me, boys," boys was not referring to Floyd. It was not referring to Floyd, because Floyd has left, has gone out, and he's not contesting for leadership within the EFF. Julius made that statement about those who are contesting for leadership within the EFF prior to their conference. We've seen the eventual dismissal of Mbuyiseni Ndlozi from the EFF as well, who you could say was maybe third or fourth in command of the party, a close friend of Floyd. He's now a broadcaster. Are you going to start a political party? Are you know what I mean? Please don't come here.
This show is brilliant, by the way.
Yeah, no, I haven't had the opportunity to listen.
That's another guest I'd like for us.
Yeah. No, we need to have them.
Sure.
We need to have them on.
The doctor is to come.
Yeah. So you can see that Floyd knows how to move in a room full of vultures. You know, that famous Jay-Z line. The industry shady, it needs to be taken over. I'm overcharging niggas for what it did to the coal crush. Yes. Pay us like you owe us for all the years that you hold us. We can talk, but money talks, so talk more bucks. When you're talking about bucks, right? Money. That's what is the biggest accusation. Is that there's big money players that are trying to destabilize all these black parties, that are throwing money around, you know, to infiltrate any of the movements. And there was an accusation that Floyd has been deployed by Johan Rupert, you know, one of the alleged secret backers of the EFF, to leave the EFF in such a cloud and a storm that people can't see that he's being deployed to the MK to undermine Zuma's political ambitions to return to the political mainstream. And I mean, we'd have to wait and see about that one. He said some very concerning things about this conversation that he wants to have. He said he wants to invite, you know, Dr. Petrus Motsepe. He wants to invite Dr. Irvin Cause, Kaiser Mutawung, and a whole lot of these other big black captains of industry, as well as many other captains of industry. My concern, though, is that our black captains of industry have not shown any inkling of being pro-black. In fact, they seem to be more pro-white or supporting white supremacy, in that they have not established our own institutions that are black founded. All of our institutions are white founded, white supported, white managed, white controlled. And the jury is still out as to whether this movement will be another one of those movements that has got black faces, but white puppet masters pulling the strings behind that. So, yeah, I think that is my summation of the developments that have happened in the MK party, as well as the resultant effects on, you know, other parties that are competing for the same voter base. Yeah.
Israel, Iran, Trump. I saw, is it Bernie Sanders, who has been tweeting and saying Trump would be very stupid to betray his voters, because during his election campaign, he did promise, even during his first election campaign when he was president, the first term, he did promise that there will never be a war against Iran. America will not go to war against Iran. And even now, a lot of people also thought he still remains in those sentiments. And then they're saying, Usatanyago, he's the real leader because we shaya to take America into war. And American taxpayers have to pay for that war.
Yeah.
If they, I mean, you've seen the bombs have just been going over the past week or two. You know, Tel Aviv, Iran, Shama, Bomama missile, Lapayana.
Yeah. Every time Lindsey Graham hops on a plane, bombs fall somewhere.
Yeah.
Lindsey Graham hopped on a plane, went to Ukraine. Bombs ended up falling.
And the fear they've been using for many years now, it's been 30 years. Iran is close to a nuclear weapon. Iran is busy with the nuclear. Iran. And all these years, as they've been assassinating all these Iranian defense military leaders, as Israel. But eventually now, they're just bombing each other.
Yeah. So Iran signed the Nuclear Non-Proliferation Pact at the same time as South Africa dismantled its nuclear bombs and became the first signatory of the Nuclear Non-Proliferation Pact. Israel is not a signatory of the Nuclear Non-Proliferation Pact. Israel has nuclear weapons. The question that should be asked by the public is if America has the means to prevent Iran from having a nuclear weapon, why can they not prevent Israel from holding on to their nuclear weapons, which is the only reason and the motivation between Iran's alleged desire to have nuclear weapons? Iran would not need to have nuclear weapons if there wasn't a nuclear-armed enemy state within their region in the Middle East. Pakistan has nuclear weapons. India has nuclear weapons. There was a little skirmish and a little conflict. It didn't go any further than, a 2-day skirmish between their armies, because both of them are nuclear-armed nations. And it would be Armageddon if they were to launch a nuclear war against each other. So those that state that having nuclear weapons would make Iran more dangerous are misled, because we've seen that nuclear weapons do work as a deterrent because of the mad doctrine of mutually assured destruction. Now, when it comes to the current conflict and Bernie Sanders' statements, and Bernie Sanders is the same person that supported Joe Biden, that stepped out of the primary and allowed Joe Biden to ascend to presidency. None of these conflicts that we're seeing right now started within the second Trump stint. It started under the Biden administration. So for him to be so anti-Netanyahu, but yet say nothing about Israel, shows that there is a conflict there of interest. He's a Jewish American as well. He receives money from the Jewish lobby.
AIPAC.
Well, there's many Jewish lobbies. AIPAC is just one of the biggest ones, and AIPAC is the one that funds political lobbies. There's many other Jewish lobbies that fund educational institutions like Harvard. The Jewish lobby that had 2 of the heads of Harvard have to step down recently. There's, Columbia University as well. The Jewish lobby is very strong there. And then there's accusations of money coming from Qatar. Now, you can say that the anti-Semitic sentiment is being funded by Qatar, but the biggest fighter of anti-Semitism in the world right now is Donald Trump. That's the position that he's been given by the deep state in America, to fight so-called anti-Semitism. How would the biggest anti-Semite in the world accept a gifted plane from Qatar if Qatar is funding anti-Semitism in America? It makes absolutely zero sense. The biggest media personality that supported Trump in his current electoral campaign, and even, went to a couple of rallies, campaigned for him, Tucker Carlson, had a discussion about AIPAC funding people like Senator Ted Cruz. And Ted Cruz denied that AIPAC is a foreign lobby, but could not deny that it's got Israel's interests at heart. and Israel is supposed to be a foreign country. Ted Cruz then also made the mistake of saying that America is bombing in Iran. And when he was questioned about it, he said that America is backing Israel's bombing of Iran. So we are bombing Iran. We're currently bombing Iran. And that statement is not consistent with the Trump administration's line, saying that they support Israel, they back Israel, but they're not getting themselves involved in the war. It doesn't mean that there's ever going to be American boots on the ground in this conflict. So what it seems is happening is that Trump is just trying to stay alive. We forget that, he was shot at his rally. And we know for sure that Iran had nothing to do with it. They wouldn't do that. They wouldn't shoot a sitting president of the United States. They could have fired at Biden while he was there. So why would they fire at a contestant? There's a great mistrust of Trump by the Israel lobby. Although Mary Adelson and all of them have given him lots of money, they don't trust him, or they don't trust that he will act in their best interests all the way. They believe that he is transactional and that he's also someone who wants to preserve his own life. And he wouldn't do anything that would put him on the hit list of Israel. We all know that when the JFK files were released, a lot of evidence pointing to Israel's involvement in the assassination of the then US president came to light. And Trump has great reasons to be concerned about the same fate befalling him as JFK. So I don't think he is supporting Israel because he wants to, or because it aligns with the MAGA principles or the America First doctrine. I think that he knows that if they feel that he's not acting in their interests well enough, they will kill him. I feel that the same thing happened to Elon Musk.
And because America has been negotiating with Iran, they were reaching very close. The nuclear talks.
Yeah, nuclear deal. Yeah.
And then behind those talks, behind their back, behind America's back also, unless we don't know behind the scenes what they're saying. But then they just went and murdered Ali Shamkhani, the biggest, Iran's negotiator, nuclear negotiator.
Exactly.
During those talks,
they undermine Trump.
How do you undermine the US and then just kill this guy and then start bombing Iran?
And then Trump says nothing.
Sorry?
Trump says nothing about it.
Yes.
In fact, he says, I warned Iran that Israel is planning an attack.
He's changing his tune now on it.
And MAGA is watching.
That's what Bernie Sanders was saying.
Yeah. So Bernie Sanders is right in that MAGA is watching and he's losing support. And the only person who seems to, be consistent in towing the America First party line is Nick Fuentes. And we know that Nick Fuentes was the guy that was instrumental in Kanye West's first presidential run in the 2020 elections. Also was behind a lot of his rantings, his anti-Semitism, his neo-Nazism, all of those things. Nick Fuentes was behind that. We also know that Kanye, although he was critical of Jewish people in the music industry and those that he's had dealings with in business, he shied away from criticizing Israel and also overtly supporting Palestine. Why would Kanye do that? Because Kanye doesn't want smoke with Israel. Yes, I can be an anti-Semite, say things about Jewish people, but as long as I'm not saying anything about Israel, Israel is not going to come and kill me. Kanye knew that Mossad will come in and kill him.
Mossad guys that don't play, bruh.
His trainer was Mossad. His trainer threatened to take his children away.
Yeah, his trainer told him,
yeah, Harley Pasternak. You understand what I'm saying? So that is what he's up against. As Trump, he's up against those Israelis that could kill him and that would think nothing of it. They killed the most popular president that Americans ever had.
JFK.
You know what I mean? And Trump is nowhere near as popular as JFK. Not even as popular as Ronald Reagan. You know what I mean? And
He probably is. Maybe we're living in the internet era now, social media era.
okay.
But he probably is. Maybe I
Okay.
was too young
Okay, well,
to be able to
either way,
compare. I don't know.
whether you say JFK, Richard Nixon, who debated JFK, Ronald Reagan, you name them all. None of them finished their presidencies.
And Trump promised us that in his presidency, there'll be no wars.
Yeah.
Because all these
There'll
other
be no new
presidents
wars.
before him, there's been wars.
Yeah.
Afghanistan,
Yeah.
Iraq,
Mm-hmm.
Libya,
Mm-hmm.
etc.
Yeah. That's it. And so for him, the only thing to do is to,
Nalo wamanje abantu omdala lo bekade lobela khusha lobelawa njalo. Lo Joe Biden. Bavithisa
well,
igazi.
now Trump will no last say tips in.
Marikaza yenzakale ngesikhathi saka Biden.
Exactly.
Kodwa manje Trump asithembisile ukuthi there'll be no wars in his presidency.
Yeah.
But look at what's happening in Iran, and it's starting to change tune now.
Look at what's happened in Ukraine. It's gotten even worse. We're even further from peace in Ukraine. And he said he would broker that within the first 100 days or the first 24 hours of his presidency, there'd be a peace deal. And we're further away from a peace deal. And what it looks like is that Russia is going to take Kiev. And that will be the only condition under which they'll accept any peace negotiations.
But then talking about Russia, that's what's scary right now. That's why a lot of people are like, Ish, this World War III conversation is starting to get louder and louder. 5:30. 5 or 5:30.
No, 5.
Why kala 5?
It's time to cook dinner.
Oh, okay.
It's time to cook.
Podcasting on 5.
It's
By
time
the
to
way,
cook
guys,
dinner.
we record on Ntambama ngabo 5. That's why alarm got NOTA ngabo 5.
Just-
Na ithi krrr mele nazo 5.
No, I've got lots of alarms.
So I don't think it's actually Putin, but I think it's one of his military leaders who has issued out a statement, and I think it's probably Putin. I mean, actually, let me fact check myself. Yeah, who issued out a statement and said, "America ingayingeni indaba ye Iran."
See, this one. Dinner alarm every weekday, 5. Then there's 5:20, just in case. There's 7:11. And that's why I had an alarm for 7:11. There's 7:30, 7:45. And when I go to sleep too late and I know I can't wake up in time, I set up an alarm starting, from 2. See? 2, 2:30, 3, 3:30, 3:45, 4, 4:15, 4:30. You know what I mean? Just to make sure that I wake up, they're already set there. So it's only during the week. On weekends, I don't have that alarm. So maybe if we shoot on weekends.
Putin strongly condemned Israel's aggression against Iran. Violations of international law and the UN Charter are unacceptable. All problems should be resolved peacefully and diplomatically. And this is the Russian media saying so that Putin issued out that statement. And now, let us be honest. Russia warned the United States against joining Israel's war with Iran. In the words of Russian Presido and Point One Vladimir Putin, allow them to settle their differences accordingly. Interfere against an ally would be an invite to another ally, Trump's no wartime president.
So, yeah, I think obviously the English is there being translated from Russian, so it's a little bit broken. But
yeah, it's a little bit broken.
yeah, because Putin, I've never heard Putin speak English. Yes, that's Slum. Putin.
But anyways,
posting a photo to TikTok.
You know, sometimes when you look at this video, it just appears this video, and then there she is. She just comes.
Well, I mean, she looks like a dad. She is pretty. I won't lie. I'm more to Zille. I won't lie. I won't lie. No. Yeah. No. Lihle ishanganele kancamalala. Lihle lona lela shangane. Yeah.
I wouldn't mind who was.
Yeah. Goje ubani. Hey.
Uzodila namapolitiki lethe ukuthi amanisela awume kancane kuze
Yabona makunotutuzile.
Yeah.
No ladies ama. Kumele wazi ukuthi risky business. Risky business.
Go at your own risk.
I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey.
What, she's got TikTok gym videos? Sorry, guys, we're off ramping from political
Yes,
talk a little bit.
eh.
This is a podcast. Let's see.
Yeah.
I've never. Is she on TikTok? Is she on TikTok?
I'm not on TikTok. I don't know who's on
what's
TikTok.
that?
I don't know. I don't know.
Nota's wisdom is there.
I'm following.
Oh.
Yeah, no, I know. No, hey, I know. Ngiyabona uyajima.
Ngiyabona
Ngiyabona ukuthi uyajima umntana abantu. No,
Sister Duduzile.
no, usis tutuzile.
I bumped into her in Rosebank at the pantry.
Did you take her numbers?
Sawubona Sister Duduzile.
Eh?
She offered me her numbers. She's like,
Oh, did you take them though?
Ngizulu khuluma ngami lapha ku-podcast. She took mine.
Okay.
But I was just very respectful to not ask her for her numbers. But she asked for mine. I gave her mine.
Okay.
She's stunning. And she's very
I-
friendly. And her
Very.
skin, bruh.
Oh well, you know me, so I'll put you on. I just sent you her numbers.
Oh, you just send, you
Yeah,
just
yeah.
send them.
Now easy. Those are the real ones. No, those are the real ones. I just sent you the number. Uzobona uphelelaphi.
Chiscop was my classmate.
Don't say ngwathole ku-notes.
No, I mean, she knows now. Oh, by the way, she says she watches the pod.
Oh, no, thank you.
Came, she gave me a hug. I was like, oh, look, I'm
How? Does she smell original or is it the other ones that are 70
She
rand?
smells good.
So the 4,000 one, not the 70
She
rand.
smells good.
But now we've got perfumes that look
No,
like
I'm
or
not saying
smell
she
like
smells
that.
good.
Yeah.
She smells good.
Oh, Tom Ford
And
type.
a warm heart.
Yeah, real Tom Ford. Yeah.
And then she asked me for her numbers and then I gave her.
Lovely.
She hasn't called. It's been
Lovely.
about 2 weeks. So
Lovely.
maybe for now.
Yeah.
I'm not going to talk politics.
I know. No. Don't talk. to
Ntwana
politics.
sithembisa mina.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's continue.
Hey, ututuzile. Wafika wazositutuza kancane. Yeah, so
She can tutuza me anytime.
yeah. Angakududuli. So, we're looking at what's happening, and for me, I'm just
How
happy.
did we get here? We were already talking about this.
We're talking about Israel and no. I'll tell you. Yeah. Oh yes.
Oh, it popped
I'm
up on my
recommendations.
phone. Yeah.
Yes, I'm
And these
recommendations.
algorithms as well. Wakhuluma ngokuthi bethu indlela sekuvela ama-advert ekawulo. Like,
As long as we Mzek's kitchen.
anyway. We need to get into those
Not
SEOs.
any kaulo nje. Just yeah. So with this Iran Israel conflict, I'm just happy for us as South Africans. The heat is off of us right now. We are no longer the biggest threat to Israel, right? Because we've taken them to the ICJ. Our president went there. He had a chit chat with the Don. Our president was at G7 in Canada, which was supposed to be the 51st state, but it seems like the Don has run away from that responsibility because of this Iran conflict as well. So it seems Canada will remain an independent country of its own, a sovereign country, which sees South Africa as an ally, just like Mexico sees South Africa as an ally. So if you look at NAFTA as a whole, the North American Free Trade Agreement countries, 2 out of 3 are in our corner. So Trump will come around, and hopefully he'll be at the G20. There were also many other presidents, I think some G20 representatives that also went to the G7. I also saw a BRICS partnership picture that was taken by the president of Brazil, Lula, with Narendra Modi of India and Cyril Ramaphosa of South Africa, obviously, our president, the president of the best sporting country in the world. You know, Swina Yonkinto. Swina Yonkinto. And I think the developments that will come out of this G20 presidency that we have as South Africa will benefit our standing globally permanently. And they will take away any of the backlash that we faced from the partners of Israel in the EU and the US. So I'm pretty happy with this current conflict. And plus, those countries, Iran has got 92 million people. They got 30 million more people than us. Israel is a rich minerals exporter, the biggest diamond exporter in the world, bigger than Botswana. You know what I mean? Even though most of their diamonds actually come from Botswana, so let those big boys have that conflict. Let us play our role in developing this continent and developing a voice for this continent that is larger than what we've previously had, and get a permanent seat at the table as global players. And that is the positive development that is happening right now with Iran and Israel. As for Iran funding the ANC or whatever the case may be, all we want from Iran is cheap oil. The petrol price is ridiculous. You know that they've also increased the fuel levy, the tax that we pay in the petrol price, the money that goes to road accident fund. I don't know if you've spoken to Collins Letswalo.
No, I haven't, not yet.
Yeah, but I've seen him doing.
Spoke to Minister Kolimalachi, Communications.
Oh yes,
Minister of Communications.
Yes. Please put me in touch with him. I've got some ideas.
Okay, I'll send
for
you
him.
his number now.
Yeah, I've got some ideas for him. Based on that interview, there were some things that came to mind that I thought maybe he needs to also consider with this policy that's changing.
Oh, you sent me the number. I was just to do Zille.
Oh.
That was quick. Let me send you the minister's number now. Thank you.
Yeah, no, I thank you. I know. Yeah, no. So with the current developments that are happening within our country as well, the preparations for the G20 summit, which is being hosted in Johannesburg.
Done.
We also have a new concern coming up within this city. The mayor, Tata Morero, is up for a vote of no confidence next week. I don't know what's wrong with our city. You know what I mean? Ekurhuleni also went through the same thing of having many mayors in and out. It seems to have more stability now. I don't know how things are going in Ekurhuleni.
Gaza next week, the mayor.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I don't know how things are going in Ekurhuleni right now, but Johannesburg, things are, things are confusing.
We're all going through the most. I think Johannesburg the most, though.
Really? Yeah. Things are confusing, I'd say. Because as much as I'd like to criticize the fact that our city is falling apart, when I drive through the CBD, I see lots of tape. There's lots of construction going on. So there's things being done while things are falling apart. And I don't know whether things are being done at a faster rate than things are falling apart, but there's no order. I can't really point to anything and say this is improved.
So you think, sorry to Kanakalhano, also fancy the point is so you think to Coco Helen Zille would make a better Johannesburg mayor?
Never.
At her age?
Not even.
Never.
Not even. It's not even about that. You see, the thing is this, is that Tsipu! Is that what you want as a mayor? You remember that white teacher that just spat racism with every kind word that she tried to utter? That is Helen Zille. A white person that has a paternal relationship with all blacks. As in, I need to be your father. I need to be your boss. You blacks are savages that can't do anything good for yourselves. So you need this white paternalistic figure, even if it's a white woman. You understand what I'm saying?
And I saw the support from a lot of black people online. I
Well,
was like, what's wrong with us? Is this Stockholm syndrome or what? What is this?
I won't lie, I listened to 702 as well. I'm also one of those black people. I wasn't supporting, but I listened to 702, so I understand.
Yeah. Not even abudaki.
Okay, let me put it like this. Mini 702 ngiyayizwa. Nokungayilaleli, mara ngiyayizwa. You understand? There are many people abayilalela 702. So when they call us 702 blacks, I fall into that
category.
Yeah, but I'm not the ones that listens to the sentiments of that 702 black. I observe the phenomenon as an outsider. And so I am not surprised that the 702 blacks, my other fellow 702 blacks will come out there in support of Helen Zille. Western Cape is a scam. It's a lie.
Yo, that's the thumbnail for this episode, my man. Western Cape is a scam. It's a lie.
It's a lie.
That's what the authority is saying. Why?
The Western Cape has had the highest growth in unemployment since 1996. So in the constitutional democracy of South Africa, because 1996 is when we adopted the constitution, ne? Yeah, Palo, Bab Cyril. So since 1996, unemployment in the Western Cape has grown at a faster rate than anywhere else. When we look at the economies of the different provinces, right? After Gauteng comes KZN. In third place, and far behind in third place, is the Western Cape. So the two biggest economic hubs are Gauteng and KZN. Now, the DA has not been able to boost employment in the Western Cape, in the third biggest province economically. They have not been able to address the imbalances of the past. In fact, the Western Cape is more unequal, right, than it has ever been. It's even more unequal now. The Western Cape is the bastion of apartheid remnants. The apartheid special planning project is best seen in the Western Cape. So the level of inequality in the Western Cape is so high that abelungu babulala na bodwa.
Abelungu babulala na bodwa.
That's how high it is. As in, we're not even kulelo zinga yokuba involved crime. I-crime yase Western Cape is on such a high level that abongamla kuphela. Abo Mark Liffman, abo what. You've seen what has happened in the past. You know, Mark Liffman.
Bulgarian mafia.
Yonke into abongamla
Brazilian
kuphela yonke into.
mafia.
Camps Bay agna spoon. Agna mora. It's Guten Morgen. Do you understand that? It's Guten Morgen. They speak German in Camps Bay.
Atlantic Seaboard.
That
Constantia.
entire area, right? So to think that Mam Zille.
Gogo, not Mama.
Oh, sorry.
She's your
Gogo.
Gogo.
Yeah,
Yeah, she's Gogo.
No,
She's almost in her 80s, bro.
I made that name of
What's a
Godzilla.
Gogo? Yeah.
Yeah, the
Gogo.
Godzilla. She's
She's 74.
years old.
You're 35.
74 years
so
old.
she is how many years older than you? 40 years older than you. She's
40
your
years.
grandmother.
Yeah. She's older than my
grandmother.
dad.
Of course.
You know what I mean?
She's old enough to be almost your dad's mother.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
No, maybe.
Almost.
No, my dad is 72. My dad is 73 now. 70.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, 73. My dad is 1 year younger than
born
me.
again,
Second born.
Oh, second
My
born. Okay.
dad had us late. My dad
Late,
had
no?
his kids late. Yeah, my dad had me at 38, had my little brother at 40, had his firstborn at 32.
I get you.
Yeah. So we're very young. And my grandparents had my dad when they were old. My grandfather was born in 1909.
Wow.
The year they went to go visit the Queen to ask for natives to have representation in South Africa's politics before the Union of South Africa was formed. Yeah. So the Union was formed when my grandfather was 1 year old. That's my side of the family history. The problem with a lot of these people that have come in from the old days, right, is that the white liberals or the anti-apartheid movement that found expression in movements like the Black Sash, etc., their role was never to liberate blacks. Their role was to create better conditions for blacks to live under so that whites wouldn't be seen as these monsters that are oppressing blacks. It was about removing their culpability in the oppression of the native race or the native population. It wasn't about actually being against racism to the point of addressing anti-blackness or anti-black sentiments. Helen Zille epitomizes anti-blackness. Why is that? It is because she represents the notion that blacks are incapable of being in leadership positions. The mere fact that she overlooks any of the other black leaders, like the one whose number you just sent me, you know what I mean, who I think is a pretty charming guy. He went to Tefloop, you know, and Tefloop is a producer of many engineers. It's overlooked, but it's over-indexing at the same time. I mean, just look, we've got the communications minister from Tefloop right now. You know what I mean? That's some scheme stuff. So with Helen Zille jumping over and above any and everybody within her own party, for me, it shows that she's reached the end of her political life. And I think that the chickens have come home to roost. She has not planned for succession. Her biggest supporter is Dean McPherson, our current Minister of Public Enterprises, right? No, of Public Works, sorry. Yes. John Steenhuisen seems like he is going for the top position. He's coming for her post. And then in left field, our new friend, I don't know if he's still our friend, States, Rob Hersoff. No, but let's not judge him. Maybe Bampuzise something, let's States. Bampuzise whatever they gave to Elon.
Rob, you're our father, man. When you came to the pod, we were so excited. We thought you... my heart is sad with the utterances you've been making on international podcasts. Anyway, it's okay.
No harm, no foul. Let me put it like that. I still want to have a chat to Rob. You know, I still eat
we'll
INJ.
make it happen,
Yeah, I still eat INJ, heart of the home. You know.
Sure. I'm in Cape Town this week, by the way. I'm flying out tonight.
Oh,
Yeah.
nice.
Off to Cape Town.
Okay.
So I'm gonna be with Rob on Wednesday or Thursday.
Okay.
And I'm also gonna record Musi Maimane this week as well while I'm in Cape Town.
Okay.
Hopefully, you know, we'll set up a proper date for Rob to sit down with you.
Yeah, please. I'd like to please take him
while
to.
I'm there.
Yeah, please take him to Pizzos. That's my homie's place there at the Vienna waterfront, right by the police station.
We've got an event this Saturday at the Cabo Beach. It's a Radio 2000.
Oh, that's right there. That's right there. Yeah.
28th June, this Saturday. If you're in Cape Town, let's meet at the Cabo Beach. Radio 2000 personalities there. Bongo Muffin is there. Trumpis, a whole lot of us. Cleo, myself, a lot of us. It's going to be an incredible weekend.
Okay. I wanted to see some information that I wanted to share. But speaking about the DA again, is that, you know, I've been watching Ronaldo Host's criticism of the DA.
Okay.
And he spoke about the Young Democrats project or whatever. I think they've got a youth league type of organization to uplift and bring in some young people. Your Gordon Hill Lewis emerged from that. Your Pumzile Van Dams emerged from that. Ronaldo Host emerged from that. Your Dean McPherson's emerged from that. Lindiwe Mazubuko emerged from that program. As you can see, Mbalamakama, Amakulu, we know these people. None of those people are in prominent positions in the DA right now. None of them. None of those people are being invested in as future leaders of the DA. And Gok Helen seems to be the Jacob Zuma of the DA, where the same way Ishangane lase Bronco Sprite Uber Prince Marshall would say.
Now Ishangan Lasimzeng's kitchen.
No, mina ngumtsonga.
Ishangan Lasimzeng's kitchen.
Ngumtsonga.
Who says that? Who says Ishangan Las? Oh,
Uye uthi amshangan, by the way.
the trending
Yeah.
the MK video.
Yeah.
Oh, Kojubani.
The MK whatever.
Who said Ishangan Lasimzeng? Is that this whole Shangan thing came from this past 2 weeks?
I know
I know that.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, like, the
Yeah.
reason why you've been saying
Yeah.
this Shangan thing. Okay.
We are Tsonga in Limpopo, majority of us.
Yeah.
There was
No, it's Tonga. It's not Shangan. What's
Yeah.
the difference between Shangan and Tonga?
Shangans are Zulus. So,
Because of so Shangan.
yeah, he's a Zulu.
Okay.
Yeah. So what happened is that he
Migrated from the KZN.
now well
That was Umziligaza, isn't it?
he conquered new lands, right? And then when he conquered those lands, there were Tsonga people, Tsonga speaking people within that region. A minority of them, but enough of them to create, I guess, a certain culture within that region. So they did not assimilate into the Zulu or the Nguni culture, because Zulu as a nation was not created that. Zulu as a nation came with the British Empire. The British Empire uplifted a Zulu nation. So it didn't become the clan, it became the nation that encapsulates all the other groups and chieftainships underneath one kingdom. So before the unification of the Zulu nation, there was Soshangane, who was there. When he built his empire, the people that were inside that empire, a lot of them were Tsonga speaking, and they were known as Abantu Baga Soshangan. Just in the same way, the people that followed Shaka Zulu were known as Amazulu. Now, those people stretching in what used to be the kingdom of Eswatini, all of Eswatini, a lot of Eswatini, right? Southern Mozambique was also part of Eswatini, and northeastern of South Africa was also part of Eswatini before the Union of South Africa then took over that land. That was part of, at that point in time, the Gaza Empire, right? And that's where Amashangane come from. Now,
Tsonga?
uNdlunkulu, ne? Is that the Queen Mother? Yes. The Gamswati, the second, the wife of Sopuza the first, the one who moved the Swazi kingdom to where it is right now, Sopuza the first, right? She was Shangan. Tsanzile. You know what Tsanza mean? Is ukhluleka. Switsanzile. It means ihlulekile. Kutsanzeka ukhluleka. In Tsonga.
Okay.
Queen Tsanzile is the mother of Mswati II, the grandfather of the current king Mswati in Swaziland. The Swati nation, in actual fact, are Proto-Tsonga. They are part of the group of Tsongas that migrated from the Maasai region of Tanzania in sorry.
Not Kenya?
No, Tanzania. Maasai region. It's a big region. But it falls...
East Africa.
Yeah. That Maasai region stretches all the way into Kenya, right? But the region where the Tsongas come from is in Tanzania. Now, today is Tanzania.
Lezi ziphathula ibhubesi inyama live 99. Zilanda ibhubesi ngomkhonto kanje. Ziphathula inyama kanje.
Yeah, yithi labo. Yithi labo. Those are my people. Those are my ancestors. Those are all our ancestors. So
ungangitshela ngabo King David abelungu hayi ngikutshela ngabantu abala Africa.
Yeah.
Bulala ibhubesi balanda 99 ngomkhonto le wena tsak bathatha inyama live baba. So yeah, my man, go to YouTube and check those videos. They're even there.
No,
right?
Seriously, yeah, no, that's how they do it.
Thinks I'm joking.
No,
the Maasai tribe don't play. Bro.
Yeah, and shout out to my brother, Pralaki Ntimande. He's the head of the Gauteng Liquor Board as well. Right now, he went.
Cell phones.
Yeah. No.
He was stuck there.
Yeah.
I believe.
No.
I think the editors of this podcast must find that video and put it here.
No, they must put it. No, they'll do it. I'll send. Now that is part of their cultural traditions. You know what I mean? Like to actually steal meat from lions and whatever. It's
not
part
even
of their practices.
Steal it, like hijack it.
Yeah, yeah, because they've got a big stick. You know what I mean? You know. So like Ntimande went there to the Maasai region and basically went through the process, retraced our steps culturally. And while he was there, even though the signal was bad, they don't have Starlink that side in the Maasai region. No, they don't have it. The signal was bad. So he taught me a lot about this. So the Proto-Tsonga Swatis also know that there are Proto-Tsonga Shangans and Proto-Zulu Shangans. Sopuza the first gave the Shangans land, which ended up becoming part of Mozambique and South Africa. That land that goes above Hazy View, all those things, Malelane, Tonga, all that area. Yeah, that area. Have you been there? When last were you there? Exactly. So that used to be part of the Eswatini.
There's a couple of kilos before your car, Pushback Ridge.
So a Pushback Ridge.
Now Spruit side. Sure.
So eBushbuck Ridge ila ukhola
On your way to the Kruger.
ila uthola khona amashangane like uSisi Nkateko, the SG of the MK Youth League. So yena ungumshangane. To say uyishangane is to dehumanize.
It's demeaning.
It's demeaning.
Disrespectful.
Yeah, IZulu is the sky. It's not a person. You understand what I'm saying? It's the heavens. So the
Umzulu
is a person.
Ungumzulu, and then isiZulu is the language.
You understand what I'm saying?
Or the culture.
There you go. So I saw Floyd defending him, but I think that Floyd was just being gracious. He didn't want to take Ndwana, on a public platform, knowing that he is a Tsonga person. And me, personally, as a Tsonga person, growing up, I was taught never to allow people to call me Umshangan, because we are not Shangan. You understand? Just because Shangan speak our language, which is Xitsonga, doesn't make us one people.
Okay, no, I understand. And what does this Shiyangane come from?
That's just nonsense.
Well, that's just nonsense.
You watched the interview that I did with Zuleika.
Yeah.
The apartheid system was dividing and conquering. They were finding ways to make black people anti-black. And that's that anti-blackness,
Okay, let's go back. Sorry, I disturbed you.
No,
when I
no,
got
no
in
problem.
this topic. You were speaking about Prince Mashele. I disturbed you.
No, yes. So
Because you were still on the DA.
no, I just said his characterization of the MK is what you can say now applies to the DA with Helen Zille. She's showing that she doesn't have faith in any of the leaderships or any of the other leaders that she's got around her. And it shows that after Helen Zille, the DA itself also doesn't have a future. Like, doesn't have anyone. There's not one white person that I can say, yeah, no, Nkosi yabonga mlale, and he can lead or she can lead the same way Helen Zille has been propelled to leading, So, yeah, I just think that it was just bad politics from her to make that announcement. And I just feel like she's doing too much. She already did the roast. And the roast is like a way to say, okay, say all these bad things about me.
By the way, I know nobody knows this. Let me just say it. I declined it for Helen Zille to take it. Sorry, continue.
Oh, so it's your fault that she did it. Why?
The roast, I could not be remembered.
Why didn't you send Mzegezege to do it then instead? At least.
But it's the truth, I'm not joking.
Yo, because of Chabulu, Subuma lawyer.
Respectfully.
If there was a roast of Mzegezege, Subuma lawyer would have been up there in the panel. Melumbize.
Let's go overseas. There's a lady called Shaniqua Tompkins' 50 Cent's baby mama. All these years, I never understood why 50 Cent hated Diddy so much. All these years, I've never understood.
Yeah.
It's only now I'm starting to understand that, and this is me following Academics' stream, because he streams live.
Oh, yeah.
And he's been following the case. And there's a guy called Sean G who's been really good in breaking down the Diddy case. And there's a Law and Crime or something like that. It's a YouTube platform.
Yeah,
as
I've
well.
seen them.
Very credible.
Yeah, I follow them as well.
Legal minds.
Yeah, no, I follow them.
Breaking down the Diddy case. And they break down a whole lot of other cases as well. So anyway, it just recently came out now. And these are things that are just, in the hip hop space. So hip hop, 50 Cent back in the day, I think he might have, and this comes out now, that 50 Cent's first baby mama went on one of the podcasts recently last week and expressed, as this case is going on and it's coming out that Diddy has been using 50 Cent's
baby mama. Daphne Joy. Let's just say Daphne Joy.
It's not officially there. They call it Jane Doe.
Yes.
Yeah.
Jane
Court
Doe.
documents.
Yeah.
It's not officially out there.
Oh,
but
yes.
people have debunked, the internet detectives. It's actually
Well,
Daphne
50
Joy.
is the one who said it.
Anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah. But anyway, 50 Cent's baby mama comes out and says, Diddy is not the first one to sleep with someone's baby mama. And then the internet detectives went crazy. Academics went crazy on his stream. Investigated it, did his research, and even found songs of 50 Cent's rapping, making fun of having slept with Diddy's first baby mama. And then it comes out now 15 years later, which is what, 3 years ago, when Diddy first got together with
Jay-Z
Baby
no
Joy.
Nas.
And they're saying there is never a deadline for a get back, where Diddy eventually gets 50 cents.
Get back,
Baby
mama.
And it's a get back. And we've been hearing in court some of the ludicrous things that Diddy has been doing with Usis Jane Doe, as the internet says, go to definitely. Let's talk about the Diddy case.
You know, so
because at some point they even like some of the things that I was hearing, I was like, these rich guys can get dirty, bruh. These rich guys are evil. These rich guys get back at each other using women. Diddy was giving this Jane Doe, supposedly Daphne Joy, $10,000 a month. Gave her $15,000 for furniture in an apartment. He was paying rent $10,000 a month. Gave her $45,000 at some point.
And he's still paying for lawyers, right?
Even Damanja.
Yeah, yes. That's what I heard.
But he kept her at bay. He kept her here. And he would get sex workers, abamachita, to sleep with her.
I don't like
2, 3, like a really crazy things that you never even think would happen in real life. And I'm like, these rich guys are sick in their heads. And it's not only Diddy. It just so happens that right now he's the poster boy for that. I know Ninga Zipaya, that people talk about Harvey Weinstein,
all of them,
Jeffrey Epstein, and all these guys that are sick. Those ones are even worse because they even sleep with underage kids or underage women. Underage ladies. But let's talk about the Diddy case. Maybe just in passing before we come back to talk about KO's brand new album, etc.
So, look, I'll say on the Diddy case, it's just showing how dirty the celebrity world is in Hollywood. We're seeing it. You know what I mean? For me, I don't think that the crimes that he's being charged with, he's guilty of. I think that all of Hollywood is guilty of those crimes. And that is the system of Hollywood. That is the dirty laundry of all of Hollywood. And it is what it is. When it comes to 50s revelations, I mean, it happens everywhere. That's how it is. Rappers always rap about, I did this to your baby moms, I did this to your I did this to your girl, whatever the case may be. That's how they settle differences. Women are seen as trophies, and if someone can put their fingerprints on your trophy, that's seen as a W. Either way, you know what I mean? And they do that. It's a back and forth. Jay-Z and Nas did that in the past. It was a back and forth for many, many years. Even Kanye and Drake, where Kanye was complaining that Drake is shooting shots at his wife at the time, Kim.
But also Kanye has been dragged into this case as well.
Yeah.
He supposedly told definitely and then apparently there was a search.
He said that to Nicki Minaj as well.
Not Diddy, not Idea.
He said Kanye said that to Nicki Minaj in front of Safari.
Is it?
How?
I don't know.
Yeah. Wow, I never knew Safari was the boyfriend. I thought he was just a stylist or a manager. I flew her out to Hawaii. She's like, I need to come through with my guy. And he was right there. And I was like, yo. You know what I mean? So
don't bring your girl
around me too, player for real. I'm a player for real. Oh, Agsu Ashalo. Situations will arise, and now it's court cases. You see, so these situationships, these situations that these guys, you understand? So that's what's happening to Diddy, and Diddy got to that point, where every black man gets to. Zuma got to. Many black men have been Bill Cosby.
Tyler Perry.
You understand? And now Tyler Perry as well. And they've said Tyler Perry was also one of the people that was involved in the Diddy files or the alleged Diddy files and is currently on tape. But for me, all of this exposes the women involved as not only willing participants, but as, protagonists in some instances. If you look at Daphne Joy and some of the things that she said, according to the court records, she offered Diddy an all-star, what? You know what I mean? An all-star hookup.
Night.
You know what I mean? And,
freak off.
An all-star freak off.
But out is tweeting at kumthinta nakungena street but awugcina sekakhuda yo. No, this is not a joke, bro.
And imagine the
This
next
is court
day.
records.
The next day, Bambiza
This
food.
is humiliation at its finest. And I'm
But-
like, these guys are evil, bro.
But okay, fine. That happened. Ne? The next day, she wanted to freak off. She wanted to arrange a freak off. When Izolo, you suffered, are you not recovered?
Yeah, like uhlanze
So
inamba
he's the
right
one
now.
that's more concerned about her wanting to be part of these freak offs. We also have Cassie also.
And then they track her history because then, you know, with every witness in any case, people start punching on your credibility if
Exactly.
you're a witness.
Well, you're
And
gonna
then
get
it gets found out
cross-examined.
that before Diddy and 50 Cent, there was Jason Derulo.
Imagine.
Before Jason Derulo, there was Floyd Mayweather. Oh, there was Floyd Mayweather. I think after Floyd Mayweather, there was some comedian. And before
So,
that, there
u-50
was
umthole
some-
u-Floyd,
there
lo
was-
muntu.
no, apparently there was some billionaire guy as well from the Bahamas, about to Peter Nygaard or something.
Oh, yes. No,
So
Peter
apparently-
Nygaard, he
Oh,
was.
uyamcava kanti?
How? You don't know Peter Nygaard?
I didn't.
How? We went to his shop in Times Square. When we were walking in Times Square, New York, that big thing, and I said, yo, he's got some big case.
Is
He's
that the
flown
guy you were
he
talking
flew to
about?
Canada. Yes, the guy said, yo,
billionaire
yes.
guy.
I said, yo, you see
Is
that
that
thing?
the guy you were talking
Yes, right under that place where we bought pizzas for $2.50.
Bathi ke leyo beyicela bosesteri ukuthi bayikakele.
Yeah.
Ama-vibe aseDubai.
Yeah. He
And
owned
then-
a fashion brand.
Oh, gosh.
You know what I mean? So,
You know, Dame Dash, he was having
Sure.
like a theory to say that when he went to drink champs, Noriega was forcing him to drink the drink at drink champs.
Next time we must get a mic so that people know what you're saying. Dame Dash, when he went to drink champs, Nori was forcing him to drink the drinks over there on the table. And
And he refused. He said, I want to drink mine. And he said, when Nori drank those drinks, which this one, Diddy's drink.
yeah,
It was like,
De Leon.
Yeah, it was like he got drunk that he lost me. And he thought that he's going to get me drunk so that I can reveal content. He was
Oh, okay.
saying-
Amarvele, that's the strategy of it.
Aye.
He was saying-
Babe kutshwala la for
Yes, yes.
He was saying that the drinks, why the drinks, are they meant to spike people to be unconscious and not be?
No, they wouldn't do
themselves?
that. No. I don't
Well,
think Nore would
look.
do that. Nore is a big part of the culture. But
T-Pain.
also, you wouldn't drunk or drug people live on camera and do such things.
no, T-Pain
You'll have the
suffered.
drinks there. If they want to drink, they'll drink. But I don't think he'll spike the drinks. I don't think he'll do that.
T-Pain suffered from those drinks, you know, and he said, I'm the drinks champ. I came to drink champs and I drank and I'm the champion because I'm the
outdrink
most
everyone.
drunk. Yeah. He outdrank
But
everyone.
remember, even Kanye's problem started when he was on Drink Champs because he was
Well,
drinking. Even
did he
the
drink?
Game, even the game, yeah, he drank. He was drinking.
Yeah, well, I mean, he
When
drank
he
a
says-
Hennessy
when-
bottle.
When he even says, "Well, I put everyone on text on group chat when everyone was worried about me." And
Yeah.
then, "Wababala, bo Jay-Z, abo bantu bana- I've got more money than all of y'all.
All of you.
Le ntwana lezi ngathi intwana encane.
Yeah,
Ngathi intwana encane is-rich.
yeah.
Sometimes there's none.
Yeah, we better pray that Jub never gets that drunk. Because naya ngasifaka ku group chat athi aningilwelanga mangifuna incosi yami mangifuna ukuyobona incosi yami bafethu and ngiyangicava nokungi-invite kuma podcast ningishayisa ama interview mangilwela incosi zami anikho ecourt aningigaya ama lawyer or anything of the sort. So Kanye had his own problems as to why he was seeing that that episode play out in such a hurtful fashion because he
But
felt
let's
like he
come
was
back to the
betrayed.
Diddy case.
Yeah, no, he felt like he was betrayed to his people. And he went there and he spoke about Diddy and he said, Diddy, you affared all these things. You know what I mean? I know you affared, what. So if Kanye was saying all of these things about Diddy while he's talking to Diddy on the phone, why he's swearing at him on Drinks Champ, which was hosted on Revolt while Diddy was the owner of Revolt, right? And wasn't taken down by Revolt. In fact, they even put it up on the Revolt app when it was taken down on YouTube. You know, so for me, I think in this instance, man, we just need this Diddy case to expose all of this dirtiness so that it comes out in the open and it can not be used to blackmail anyone else. And I think that Diddy is going to take the fall for exposing the true nature of Hollywood. Inenyuko.
But there's a part where they have ama expenses after my freak off. I'm going to clean ama damages nana $46,000 like smart and Marabati And that manje, for them to prove a RICO case, I thought to a RICO case, you must prove that criminal organization benefited out of criminal
No, that's a RICO.
proceedings.
That's not racketeering. That's not racketeering.
So racketeering, yeah, it's RICO.
No,
is
RICO,
racketeering.
yeah, RICO is
Racketeering ICO.
yeah, but just racketeering on its own doesn't need any other players to be involved. You can you can run a racket on your own. So the RICO case was being used to catch small time criminals who are involved in big time criminal organizations.
But I think apparently they say it came out because of the mafia back in the day.
Yeah, the
in New York.
Gambino family. So they
for
caught
them to get them created.
So they couldn't get any of the capos or the dons. So they got the small time guys, and because they could link money to them, they could say that this person works under this organization, and therefore we can prosecute the entire organization for all the actions of the small time.
But they were also able to prove what the organization was benefiting off of the proceeds of crime.
Yeah.
Which is not what they're doing in the case of Diddy. He was not a criminal.
Yes, because he's being brought in as one man.
Yes.
They're not bringing in Warner, which is a 50% owner of Bad Boy is a catalog. They're not bringing in Sony or Epic, which is the current label Love Records is distributing under license to. They're not bringing Lucian Grange being the CEO of Universal Music and also funding some of these freak-offs or some of these Diddy parties or whatever, this lifestyle party.
What I thought is that it has to be proven that, plus the fact that the organization has benefited through the proceeds of crime.
Yeah.
But they're saying, no, they only need to prove that there was more than one person who was involved in organizing sex crimes. It does not have to be, the organization does not have to have benefited of benefited of criminal proceedings.
Yeah.
Because he was not a criminal. I would understand if Mklambe his case was domestic violence. Because I mean, even when I also looked at that Cassie video, I was like, I was very disappointed. It was my role model, right? I was like, I think the whole world were. But then in this case, as far as this case is concerned, yes, it does prove good. He's a dirty guy, he's an evil guy when it comes to sex, and these guys are crazy and all of that nonsense. But when it comes to them proving the RICO case, and what they're saying they're charging him for, a lot of people are saying,
yeah, no, that I understand. It's because people are confused at what he's charged
I'm
with.
also confused.
Yeah, people think that he's charged with the RICO because of the racketeering, and racketeering is part of RICO. No, he's charged with running a racket. He's not charged with organizing a big crime syndicate. No. He's charged with running a racket off of that freak-offs parties and all of that thing. So that's where the racketeering charge comes from. And the evidence that has been given is enough to prosecute him for those racketeering charges. The violence or the domestic violence part of it, I look at it like this. If my sister was involved in the abuse of women as a woman, and then the people that she's working with end up violating her in some way, I'd want her to also pay for the sins that she committed against those other women, that were violated because of this whole entire thing. I wouldn't look at her as now a victim. You know what I mean? Because if she is part of this organization, she's part and parcel of everything that this organization does. And this organization dehumanizes women, objectifies women. But it's not only women that we're hearing are being objectified. It's also men. They're so-called sex workers. I don't like using the word sex workers because it dignifies something that is dehumanizing. To be giving up your body for money is something that is dehumanizing. We cannot ever justify that or yeah, we can't normalize it by calling it a form of work. You know what I mean? You wouldn't do that. You wouldn't if you were in creche.
But they do. Even the Punisher now is doing interviews.
But do his kids go to creche?
He was Mbebeni.
I know, but do his kids go to... He was paid, yes, but do his kids go to creche and say, my dad is a sex worker? No, they don't. Why? Because as a sex worker, so-called sex worker, you're not proud of that work. So you're not proud enough of it to tell your kids to go and tell their friends at school that that's the work that you do. So I don't want to glorify that. I know that even in this country, COSATU is trying to now legislate for it and everything else, but those people are ill-advised. They're justifying nonsense. Cassie released there was an audio tape that was released of Cassie as well, telling another one of the sex workers that, hey, if you've seen this tape, you're my brother. I expect you to show it to me. Now you're telling me that you saw it. Now you're saying that you didn't see it. Now you don't know what you're doing. And whether you saw it or not, The mere fact that you've got me doubting this, I will kill you. And it won't be by my hands, but you will get killed. That's how bad it is. So if you've got that tape, or you've got access to that tape, bring it to me, pull up with it, or find it. Can you find it? So she did that, released that thing. Daphne Joy, or not, let me stop saying, Jane Doe, who was testifying, also had cross-examination where she revealed that she was also part of, extorting some people or threatening them and all of that stuff. So it seems like Diddy and all his girlfriends were involved in this criminality. All of them were involved in this criminality. And the people that are going there to testify against Diddy's are his, they should be his co-defendants. Those should be his co-defendants. You know what I mean? And right now, he's in the dock, Musiwa Lukot. And everyone is coming to the thingamajig, to the stand and saying, did he put these communist ideas in my head? If you don't get it, forget about it.
You left us in Robben Island.
You understand what I'm saying? So now Diddy's eating his hat over there. He's not coping.
What do you say about the, how do you want to call them, conspiracy theories?
Yeah.
Diddy pissed off some high ups with his Diageo, is it Diageo?
Yeah.
Diageo deal. You remember they were in court, they ended up settling out of court. They had an out of court settlement.
They had an out of court settlement.
C-Rock and Billionaire and do you think it had anything to do with this?
Look, it has everything to do with that, right? Why does it have everything to do with that? Because everyone that was party to those lawsuits against, it wasn't just Deleon, because he also sued all these big media companies or advertising agencies that weren't bringing any of their advertising spend to black media in concert with Byron Allen.
Talking about black media, I was about to say that. Shout out to Byron Allen for winning his lawsuits. He's even a bigger billionaire now. Sorry, continue.
Yeah, so he sued.
Byron Allen story, guys. Go Google Byron Allen. Amazing.
Yeah. So Byron Allen, what a great guy.
Story.
Probably
from a comedian to a billionaire.
Yeah, probably one of the most inspiring people I've ever met.
Yeah. Well, you've met him.
Yeah.
Byron Allen.
I met him the same day I met Sylvia Rohn. It was So Byron Allen was being honored. It was his gala dinner, and Sylvia Rohn was honored the year before. And that's how I got to meet Byron Allen. I was introduced by Sylvia Rohn.
I told my father not to vote for the ANC when I was 4 years old. Kona lapha khona ngitholile from Kanye West ngapho Jay-Z ukhuluma ngapi ngapho like ama-billionaire akhuluma ngapi ngizothi
ngicava ama-billionaire wonke fana from number one uyangicava rayibane He knows me as a Tsonga guy from South Africa. Because I was wearing my Shitsonga colors.
It's not a Monday unless it's
I took Njeka.
NOTA Monday.
And I got it turned, my Njeka turned into a shirt. Bebacala ukubonisha ngani ngam. Ngathi no, I'm Tsonga. So Byron Allen, he had his challenges. Luckily for Byron Allen, he didn't throw parties and any of the things, so they didn't have any dirt.
Keep it on the long king and you're going to throw in gam. But anyway. Anyway.
He had to. Begu Diddy match. Agathrowanga ingamla. Yambona usenjeni? Agathrowanga ingamla as well. No, that's true. Number one. No, yeah. Ezakhe ziyamlandela ungawari ziyeza nazo.
No, anime kancane bafethu.
uDiddy is in the position he's in because of how high up he got. You can only get that high up by getting dirt on your hands. When I tell you that there is no clean billionaire in the world, there is none. Unfortunately, the billions come with dirt. The way to make that much money is to exploit people. That's the only way. And To get that high up, you have to have exploited many, many people.
Say that again.
The way to get billions is to exploit many people. You don't become a billionaire without exploitation on a mass scale or exploitation at scale. So as much as we look at Diddy and say, yes, he's showing us that those people up there, you know, some of them are dirty. No, we shouldn't look at it like that. We should look at it takes having dirt on you to get up there. To become a billionaire, you need to be compromised in some way. Why? Because you'll have so much money and so much power. And if you are uncompromised in any way, shape, or form, they cannot control you. So Diddy is compromised. Yes, that's why he's got so much power. That's why they can also control him. Jay-Z, at the same time, you don't see Jay-Z coming out to stand for any pro-black movements. He sold out Colin Kaepernick. You know what I mean? He told him to get up off his knee. And then he went to dance with the people that were oppressing him so that he can decide who comes on stage at the Super Bowl.
Super Bowl.
You understand what I'm saying? So he hasn't been pro-black either. Diddy was pro-black. Pro-black. You know what I mean? Apart from him supporting the Democrats with his vote or die or anything else, when he came in with this revolt thing, he was saying, yes, we want black-owned, black-controlled media. We wanted to occupy space. And he didn't only do it for him. He said revolt is a movement. He even spoke about starting a black party. I don't know if you remember that.
I remember very well.
He had that conversation with Charlemagne.
I remember very well.
You understand what I'm saying? So because Diddy stepped out of the line of political protection, he is now prosecutable. And he's continuing the criminalization of black bodies that we see everywhere. You know what I mean? Byron Allen, on the other hand, did not stand up for pro-black, whatever. He's got a white wife, you know, who's got some Semitism in her, you know. So he's well protected. In the same way that, you know, Kanye has got, I think Bianca is partly Jewish as well. So he's protected himself. If Kanye had a black woman as a wife, he'd be dead by now, you know, or he'd be in an insane asylum. So that's just the condition we are in as black people all over the world. We are the oppressed class. And for us to ever rise up, we need to rise up on the shoulders of our oppressors. And those oppressors can throw us off their shoulders at any point in time. Those seats are not guaranteed. It's just like Ubab Zuma said, there's no one that's going to be in those positions forever. Isikhundla akusona sakho. Isikhundla sika Diddy bamthathele sona. Byron Allen, luckily, usesesikhundla sakhe. Let him do anything. Like, let him be pro-Palestinian and anything else. They'll take all those billions that he's suing from McDonald's. Bawathathile ama-billion. You understand what I'm saying?
Magic John, but Michael Jordan. If I'm qala phakame naye athi amandla what.
You understand what I'm saying?
Ayahamba ama-billion.
That's why he had to
Cosby,
say Republicans buy
ama-billion.
sneakers too. You know, when the Democrats were saying, hey, the Republicans are racist, why do you support them? You know what I mean? So all of those people are in uncertain positions. And this shows you, as black people, that we're powerless. You know, we're powerless as black people. These people cannot rise up without white support because black support is insufficient. And we are being co-opted. All our leaders are being co-opted because for them to rise up to any position of prominence, they need to now fall in line with the white power structure. We cannot build on our own as black people and build a power structure that is enough to rival. We're not like China, who've got their own power structure that is enough to rival, the Western hegemony. We're not like Arab, who've got their own power structures that are enough that Donald Trump will fly there and feel like a small boy in Qatar. You know what I mean? All those virgins that lined up to shake their hair for him. He can't do that. Number one, they're showing him the power of a conservative culture and the respect that they have. Donald Trump, when he goes in any parade, there's people with multicolored rainbow hair, shaking their head, shaking their fingers, protesting, saying he must be impeached, any of that stuff. He doesn't get the level of respect that he gets in these Arab nations as a visitor back home as a president. Just imagine that. And that's the power of these Arabs. They can get white powers to bow down to them. Bow down to the point of even saying, Yabona lela chet, The Air Force One, ngathi,
I'm
yeah.
guy Oloprane. That's how Cyril Vele was. I'm not Oloprane. I don't have any Oloprane to give you.
If I had, I would give you. Don't forget that part. If I had, I would give you. It's just that he doesn't have also 50% plus one. he needs sufficient consensus. Mela cela uGok Helen ukuthi yo sicela ukuboleka uTrump plane. Siyacela mela ukuthi ayobacela before he gets, and that again, we don't have any black power. Even South Africa, as a black controlled nation, doesn't have black power because the means of production are not owned by the black people or the native people of this country. So that's why all of these puppets are having their strings pulled so that we can be shown as black people that doesn't matter how far up you get, you can become the next Diddy, you can become the next Jay-Z, you can become the next Kanye West. We can bring all of you down to size. You're not bigger than us. Doesn't matter how big your community thinks you are. Doesn't matter how ride or die your community is. And this is part of the debate that we're having with Uzuleka. When we're speaking about the difference between mixed race coloreds that are white and black mixed, and mixed race coloreds that are non-white mixes, right? So whether it be black Indian, black, or whatever it is that all of those other groups don't have the power that the whites have. So if you're a colored person that is mixed without any whiteness, you don't get the white privilege. And if you're a mixed race person that has got whiteness in you, you are able to escape your blackness in some way. You are higher up than 100% blacks. You are higher up than coloreds who are mixed between Indians and blacks or whatever the case may be, right? Even though you are not as high up as a pure white person with blonde hair and blue eyes, you've got some form of privilege. And our blackness is a stain on our existence currently as it stands, because black people are the oppressed people of the world. And if you're oppressed, you are in solidarity with us because we're all black, we're all oppressed. The same can be said about the Palestinians as well. They're the black people of that region. They are the oppressed race. The same can be said about the Boers before they got the reparations from Queen Victoria. They were the dirty whites. That's how they were called and classified, even in submissions that were made to Queen Victoria. They actually had a commission of inquiry that was instituted by the British High Commission of the Union of South Africa at that point in time. And that's where the recommendations that the Boers need to be given reparations came from, right? We all share that in common. And for any of us to escape our blackness, we need to be compromised in such a way that any riches we gain will not give us the escape velocity necessary for us not to be controlled by our oppressors in some way, shape, or form, or will not give us the right to offend our oppressors, even when they are wrong. So that's that. About that, I think that's that about the Diddy trial. I haven't been listening.
Let's close it. As we are closing it, I'd like for us to close it here.
With music.
Hold on, let's close it here. Where is this? Hold on. I'd like for us to close it. Number. Oh, yeah, nah.
Is it on Apple Music? Hey, don't play more than 12 seconds. Hey, banga strike, Pella. We must be careful.
Manate.
I haven't heard this one yet.
KO's fine. KO.
Yeah.
KO just dropped a brand new one. Let's get into the track listing.
You've listened to it. I haven't heard.
I have. Dope album.
KO. Kelvin Momo is still, like with Kelvin Momo, it's so hard to listen to him over 1 week.
KO
was trying at 3 hours.
KO the goats.
You listen to 10 tracks.
Parasite. Yeah.
You listen to 10 tracks at a time.
Track 1, Parasite intro. Track 2, Hush Money. And then Cross Night, Summer to Remember, Maleven, Paradise featuring Young Stunner, Para Love featuring Black Diamond, No Chorus, Joiner, Togoza featuring Naledi Apiwe, MT,
Yeah, unalate.
GPS,
Hlupile
and then
le
Supernova featuring Casper Nyove's biggest song, first single. It's on radio, it's everywhere. Dope track. It sampled I Love Music
Yeah.
by Lebo Matos. I also sampled Panskom
Who bought that thing?
Zege Brown Dash. Did it classily, beautiful, nice slow
nice.
jam. Kaz and KO together
Nice.
on the track. Beautiful,
Nice.
back and forth. And then California featuring King Promise. Push It. That's the last track. 14 songs.
King Promise, is that a Ghanaian guy or something?
Angimcavu
Or
King Promise.
a gospel guy?
Angimcavu King Promise. But it's a beautiful album.
No, that's dope. I also
Also, you
checked
haven't
that-
listened.
No, I haven't
I
checked
don't
that.
think it's fair for me to ask you. Maybe let's review it next week after you've listened.
Yeah,
to
we
it.
can listen. Yeah,
I don't think it's going to be fair for me to ask you
No, I haven't
your
heard
opinions
any
on
of
it.
those.
You haven't listened to it. No, it's not fair. Let's not.
Yeah,
Let's
yeah.
Not get into
So
it.
I haven't
It's
heard.
going to be very unfair. Let's
I haven't heard any of the things, but I saw a clip of mine that came up from the Penwell show.
Ungachimbiringa verse.
Which one is that?
No, I just wanted to say.
No, it's not that one. Yeah, no, I'm not going into that. But I was speaking about just music in general.
Okay.
I was speaking about Afro pop. I saw a clip. Sometimes people take clips of these things and put it up on. So it only just hit me.
Yeah.
I saw it. It was already on like 100,000 views.
But I think I would like to stop you. I don't want you to go on because it's a clip. Go. Let me give you a week. Go.
Yeah.
Listen,
No, I'll go
listen
back.
to the album.
I'll go back.
Let's talk about it next week.
No, we'll talk about it next week. I just want to say the thing that I was saying on those clips, ne, about the Amapiano peak wave crashing right now is that we're seeing the results in that. I listened to the Calvin Momo album, obviously because there was the symphonic that was coming up, and you want to be up to date with what guys are dropping at the time. And it seems like he's the last man standing when it comes to Amapiano. He's the last guy that can get a number one.
You can't say so. What
No.
is Kabza? No. Kabza has got dropped. There's a new album, Kabza,
So-
that's coming. You can't say Kelvin Momo is the
So
only one.
no, I'm saying he's the last man standing.
No, what
So-
about Kabza?
This is where I'm getting to that, and Pori and all of them. Ne? My issue, especially with Amapiano, is that Amapiano, especially with Kabza and Pori in particular, has given too much control to the major labels that distribute for them or market and promote them. And so what you see is that if you look at Piano Hub as a label, right? Kabza is the biggest guy in Piano Hub, right? Then there's your Young Stanners, there's your TRPs, etc., that are also there but are not at the same level as Kabza. If you look at Pori New Money Gang, there's your ex-Dapi, etc., Abo Daliwonga and everything else, right? Now, with the dominance that Calvin Momo is facing right now, you must know that Calvin Momo's Ntsako, right, is the second most streamed album in Amapiano right now. It's the album he dropped last year. His current album is the fastest streaming or the fastest to get to 30 million streams in history or in South African history, in South Africa.
African music history.
Yeah, in South Africa, in South Africa as well, because that's also that guy, 2022 Africa also states that these streams come from South Africa. It's not counting global streams. 3 Step is coming. And 3 Step has...
Not coming, it's already there.
Yeah, well, in terms of the genre that dominates everything.
Okay.
Number 1 is a 3 Step song on Apple Music right now. Number 2 is a 3 Step song on Apple Music.
Those two balls, just what
Number 3. Number 3. No Zala is also there. Number 3 with Imali. Where that Uzinwalo was busy playing with us and saying that she says Ukalelitio, but we can see that Ukalelitio. Anyway. Ipaliwe. Oh, siyawazi ama-lyrics. Ama-lyrics siyawafunda. Ama-lyrics siyawafunda la. Yeah. So number 5, the number 5 song on Apple Music is also a 3 Step song. And because of how Kabza and Pori have staggered their releases and slowed down their releases, Calvin Momo has been able to outflank them. You must remember that Calvin Momo released his first album under Piano Hub. When he left Piano Hub, he was now releasing on his own schedule. He was also maintaining the same schedule that Kabza and Pori had at the beginning of Piano Hub and New Money Gang. There was a point in time where they were releasing 5 or 6 albums a year, just themselves. You know what I mean? And then an odd or 1 or 2 Scorpion Kings joint albums. They've slowed down a lot. In fact, last year was the first year that you saw Kabza releasing a standalone single, that's Kabza Chant. You know, he also dropped another single. It didn't last on the charts, these singles, because people don't want a single from a producer. A single is something that they want from a vocalist. When Mahu drops a single, the single does well because it's Mahu's single. Even if Mahu is featured on a single, because they're going there for Mahu, the single will do well. They don't need a whole entire album from her. But if you're a DJ producer, we need an entire album from you, and Tina So's Keteli single yet. That's the way the system works. The audience is now in control. So the labels love dictating. That's their doctrine, the major labels, whether it be Warner, Sony, Universal. They love dictating to the audience. They want to tell the audience, this is the song that we're pushing right now. This is the song that everyone should like right now. TikTok has changed all of that. We decide this is the star. We decide this is who we like. We decide this is the song that we are playing at midnight on whatever, on the 31st. We decide as the audience right now. So Calvin Momo is chosen by the audience and is supported by the audience. Calvin Momo doesn't pay to be a trending topic. The major labels pay to make sure that any artist that they're releasing is a trending topic. Listen to what I said carefully so that people don't get offended. I said Calvin Momo does not pay to be a trending topic. The major labels, not the artists, right? Or the producers or the DJ, the major labels themselves, they pay promoters, influencers to make sure that whatever, Ngomoya is trending now because that's their release. They don't do the same for Calvin Momo. Calvin Momo is trending because we are tweeting about him ourselves. When you look at the Ngomoya hashtag that is released by the major label, you can see that these tweets come from a tweet deck. This is what you must tweet. When you look at Calvin Momo's tweets, you can see that Umunto's Twitter, everybody that you see tweeting about Calvin Momo is just tweeting for themselves. So that's the challenge. Now, the issue that I have with these two strategies, the independent strategy, which is a guy like Focalistic, he's also still independent. He also releases whenever he wants to. He can release a project, he release an EP, he release whenever he wants to, right? Yeah, yeah.
I took my daughter to the basketball game last week.
Oh, the BAL.
And then Focalistic was my daughter, and then I was looking at her like this. And then she was standing still. I was like, if I was not here, she'd be doing that. That's when you get to see the influence.
You see, that's
the... a 12-year-old. You could see she wanted to And then I'm looking at her like this, and then she starts.
I know, I'm like, timer. Yabona mataiba. Yabona mataiba. Mangeko. Yamoshagala. You understand what I'm saying? So the problem with a lot of these artists right now is that bane timer. And itama lakona likhohlakele. Itama lakona liyakhetha. Linokuthi mfana mdu TRP wena awusukabza. Wena so lindisa kancane. In fact, wena nanomuze ne-lock drum, it's fine. Asinanda bakuniki meter on the timeline or whatever. When you'll drop an EP like Emalangen's Tugutugu, right in the middle of Calvin Momo's rollout. You know that Mdu TRP hasn't had releases that have charted at #1. Why would you put him in the slipstream of Calvin Momo? You understand what I'm saying? Why would you drop him within the first 3 weeks that Calvin Momo is released? You want him to have that #1 chart position. People see that, okay, this is the guy that's on top, and people to celebrate him. The only reason to do that is to maintain the pecking order. And that's how major labels work. So even if you come with your own label and say, I'm Kabza, I'm bringing Piano Hub, and here are all the artists, we don't have a pecking order. That's fine. That's how you believe things will work. But inside the major system, Bona, they've got a pecking order. They decide, you know what, Young Stunner, he released the best streaming album for 2 years in a row. It is impagi, let's let him wait. Let other guys now come in and everything else. In that time, the people still demand more and more music. In that time where Young Stunner is being told to chill a bit, Calvin Momo drop. Usticks drop. Babalu drop. I drop, and they're dropping independently. Focalistic drop. Doing his own thing under his own momentum. And we have now seen the culmination of major record labels ruining the piano movement. It's completely gone. We cannot say that piano is the most dominant genre. Another thing that people don't understand is that Durban July is the decider. Every artist works to be booked at every marquee Durban July weekend. If you look at the Amapiano artists, who is hot coming up to this Durban July?
Which is next week.
It's Calvin Moore. We Pela. Other than that, it's the vocalist Abu Mahu Babaula. You know what I mean? Other than that, you know, we're looking forward. Yes, but you can't call her Amapiano because she does 3-step, she does she does, you name it. She's a vocalist. You know what I mean? Even Mahu, you can't call her an Amapiano vocalist because she's been doing 3-step the whole entire year.
It's like Azana. Azana is a musician.
You understand? She's a
does any
vocalist.
genre,
Any genre.
she kills it.
And that's how the vocalists should be. They should be, you know, they should be, what is it? I don't know.
Versatile.
Yeah, versatile.
They should be
androgynous.
musicians.
They shouldn't be
Genre
part of one.
specific.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Exactly. So, yeah, that's actually the definition. the definition of androgynous. So now when you look at our music movement, right? Hip hop went through this phase. We went through this phase where we were obsessed with the beef between Casper and Keenan. Casper and AKA. That was the beef. You know what I mean? And it was a good thing that Big Zulu decided to lie to them and bring them together in that soccer game so that we've got a visual of them giving each other a high five so that beef was not real. But people were so invested in that beef that they wanted the beef more than they wanted to see the genre grow. You understand what I'm saying? What we're seeing right now is that people in Amapiano, right, want the rivalry more than they want to see the genre continuing to grow. So there are people who are saying, yeah, Calvin Momo's the GOAT. Others are saying Gabza's the GOAT. And then others are saying, no, Pori is the GOAT of all GOATs because he's the godfather of all the GOATs. You know, everybody's got their own GOAT. But the movement itself is not moving in unison. It's not growing in lockstep. And therefore, you're getting these big superstars that are outgrowing the genre. You can't say that Uncle Waffles is still an Amapiano superstar. She's an international DJing superstar. She can DJ Afrotech Sasa. She will still sell tickets. She can start DJing hip hop. She will still sell tickets. And she'll probably have better song selection than DJ Speedster. I know, you can't be playing all I do is win. I got 2020, I'm so I got guys. Speedster's my light skinned brother. You know, he won't take it personal. Intona am, you know what I mean? Anyway, Intona got Soul Kid, actually, let me not. Soul Kid. Shout out. Is a Seval Ola. Hey, I drive through the Val. I don't want no problems. So we're seeing the genre losing its way. There's no international success anymore. There's no one that's going across the borders. And that's also because there's no international ambassadors. There's no one who's willing to say, I'm not going to put my ego up front. I'm not going to do it for my own career. I'm going to help Intwana Zasekasi to make it in the #1 music market in the world. You need to understand that 34% of music streamed is American music. Since streaming has come on board, right, American music has grown by 80%. The consumption in American music. They are now that dominant. The fact that now streaming has made everyone global. Yes, that's true. But there are winners and losers. The biggest winner is America because of the amount of content that they've got and also how vibrant their market is. South Africa, you can say, is also one of the biggest winners because now we've risen into the top 20 markets in the world. But we're not dominating, but we're producing quality music and at a better quantity than America is producing. We should be competing on the same level. The only way for us to do that is if we do it on the same playing field. There's no way Sundowns is going to play against the best in the world unless they're playing at the Club World Cup in America right now. You understand what I'm saying? Urulani was coach of Wydad. He could have been coaching against Pep Guardiola right now.
Shout out to cricket, just won the World Cup.
You understand what I'm saying? And shout out to our captain, Temba Bavuma. He needs to come back with that mace this time. I saw you with him last time.
Sure.
She interview, yes. This time, please.
Sure.
With the mace at least.
Global superstar.
Yeah, but I took a picture with him.
Must
So
come
at
back,
least,
sure.
yeah, no. You gave him some good luck. It's that good fortune. So thank you for also helping us bring back that trophy. But if you look at the movement of the musicians right now that is getting out, it's the ones that are closer to those that have got international access. As much as the doc, whatever, Abu Doc, I don't know how to say his name. He's a Doc.
Yeah.
He's an Afrotech guy. Ne? There's Abu
DARQUE, Doc.
There's Abu Tulo, the song, who's been also
Zabo
and there's
Papa,
all of those guys, right?
Shapa,
All of those guys.
Bantwini, Shimza.
Yeah,
All of
no,
these guys, sure.
but stop there. Stop right there. All of those guys, right, have got a gateway to international stardom because the leader of that movement is in those international markets dominating. Ukofi,
Black
Uda.
coffee, sure.
Do you understand what I'm saying?
Mm.
Who does Piano have in those markets?
Uncle Waffles. Tyler. Well, Tyler's not an Amapiano artist.
But number one, she's
But Water
a
was a
female.
piano song.
Yeah, but yes, but you can say that. You can say that she's an Amapiano superstar. She was a superstar that was created in the Amapiano wave. Same as Uncle Waffles, right? Uncle Waffles, she cannot bring in Amachita and put them on. That's not her role. She's not at that role. That role is being occupied by Upor. This is what I said when we were speaking earlier this year. I think it was either at the beginning of this year or late last year. Late last year, I was saying Upor should not be going to these smaller venues because he's got other doors to open overseas. And the thing is that Amapiano has been opening doors overseas for so many years. 2024, no new doors were opened overseas. 2025, we're going to July. No new doors have been opened overseas. So what does overseas say? I say Peli Linda. It's over right now. It's not got a growth trajectory. We're addicted to growth. When we don't see something growing, we think it's dying. So there's no one that is out there that is pulling the strings, that is organizing for Amapiano to keep growing and expanding its market and its reach and its territory. 3Step at the same time also doesn't have that, although it's growing within the slipstream of Amapiano. So it's growing within the slipstream of Amapiano because South African dance music is now on the map. But the only people that are actually making those moves are the guys within the Afrotech space. And those guys are not playing on radio. You don't hear the latest Black Coffee songs playing on radio.
The latest Cairo song, you don't hear it on radio. Unless, I mean, even when he blew up with last year, only last year, the masses started hearing of Cairo. And it's been at it, bro.
Yeah.
He's been having international songs. In season,
In Caesar, yes.
It just
All of
blew
those
up
things.
Last year, people started knowing about Cairo, for
Cairo,
instance.
yeah.
Just one
Well,
example.
no. South African people started knowing about him, like normal listeners.
The
not
masses. I'm talking
the
about
masses,
the
yeah.
masses,
South
not like
African
the house
masses.
music
Internationally, he's always been known.
Oh,
Cairo Dala. Cairo Dala,
bro. Like, yeah.
He's been
But
doing
like the
reprint
masses
tours.
of South Africa don't know those guys.
You understand what I'm saying? So
About the Capo, all the guys, yeah.
we had the perfect mixture. We had a local genre that was trending locally that people are following in Amapiano that is also breaking internationally. Now we've got breaking genres internationally, right? Amapiano has already broken internationally, so they know it, they've got a taste for it, but the movement is not growing internationally. Whereas the genres where the music is not as celebrated locally is growing internationally because they're putting those efforts behind that. And you are seeing the space growing. I mean, it's grown so big. The pie is so big that even people that you thought might have competition amongst them, Abo Shims and Abo Kofi, at some point in time, are now working together because they're all part of a solidified movement. And the pie is so big that no one is thinking, if I open this door, you know what I mean? It's not that case anymore. But that's only happening in, I'd say, maybe the third largest dance genre locally. The biggest genre locally is the one that's faltering, that's misstepping, that's missing flights, that's owing people in Australia monies and everything else.
That doesn't do interviews. That doesn't go on interviews. That is late on
Doesn't
gigs.
go to radio, doesn't do radio tours.
Come on, James.
None of this stuff.
Ilahlekile.
Cry for it now. If you mourn it now, it'll save you the heartbreak this December.
Mic drop, asibambe lapho. Nota the authority. It's not a Monday unless it's a Nota Monday. Thank
No,
you.
Danko, thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for supporting. We're back with another episode. Remember to hit me up in those DMs for those advertising requests so that I can give your brand the same type of mention we give to Mo Fire.
DM Nota on Instagram. DM Nota on Twitter. Have a chat with him. Have a meeting with him. Come plug your business on Nota Mondays for a couple of thousands and grow with him.
Danko.
Thank you. See you guys next week. Siyabonga.